Okay, welcome to another 2014 Comp1 Programming Exam Solution tutorial. In this solution, we're going to look at how to save the scores to a file, and we'll load scores to a file from a file as well. So the general strategy is that we are going to create a testing dataset. We do not want to have to have to play this game umpteen times every time we want to test the program. I'm just going to hard code that. I'll show you how to do that. New procedure, pass recent scores, and then we're just going to open a file, read or write the data, close the file. Maybe we'll stick in a nice message. Rather than see me set this out bit by bit, I'm just going to jump straight to certain bits of code and explain it really. Mainly because there are just so many different options to this. I'm going to show you the ones that I think are quick and efficient, and that I know, looking at past exams, the exam board recognise. Is it the only way of solving it? No, but it's the way I've done it. Okay, so here we are in the code, and I've created a new sub-procedure. I've called it quick score fill. I could have called it score dataset, I could have called it whatever I liked, but I've called it quick score fill. I've obviously passed it the scores, which is obviously an array of record of the type recent scores, and I've just hard coded 3 games, or 3 results of a game I suppose. So Bob managed to get 3, Jill got 5, Sam got 1. Who cares what they are, they're just quick hard coded values. This will save us massive amounts of time for testing. Right, as we're here, I will show you the string solution first, and then I'll show you my binary solution, because basically we could use a standard text-based file, or we could look at using a binary file. So basically what this does is open the file and then concatenate name and score to a string, which is like a temporary variable, and I suppose it's the most recent holder as well, isn't it, because we're looping through, and then that gets written to the file. I've put a comma in here, so I'm actually just hard coding a comma separated variable, and this is a perfectly reasonable way of doing it. I know there are others. The exam board really aren't interested in binary reader, binary writer, stream reader, stream writer for VB. They like this good old file open system, and actually for things like this it makes diddly quite a difference, it's fine. But if you're not familiar with the sort of print line and write line, type it in, hit F1, find out about it, look at the file open options, and you can, basically if you don't know the syntax, you need to look it up. There's plenty of places to find it, but if you don't know what the file number is, if you don't know, now obviously this is going to be stored in the bin debug folder, and we'll have a look at that because I'm not specifying a path, I'm just saying where it's going to be stored. So we'll test that in a moment, and the way I'm going to test it is by adding an option to the main procedure, and you can see what I've done. I'm just going to retype that. What I've done is I've added a case 7. You can see I've got a few other things here as well, but we're looking at this case 7 for the moment, and you can see that I'm running my quick score fill, and then I'm saving that to the file using save recent scores str. Save recent scores str. And I've not even written it into display menu, but I'm just going to remember that it's case 7. So let's quickly test that and hit 7, bang. I've not given any user dialog, but obviously that'd be very easy to add. And then what we'll do is we'll go and find the file. So here we are in the project folder, in the bin and then debug folder, and you can see I've actually been testing the bin one already. But here's the scores file that we've just written, and if we open it up we can see that we've got Bob 3, Jill 5, Sam 1, just as we hard coded, so we know that's been written correctly. I guess if this came up I'd be print screening that now and pasting it into my EAD, my exam answer my electronic answer document, sorry. I'm just going to delete the scores bin, just so that when I do that test you know that I haven't cheated and it's not already there. Let's just change that test to be the binary version now. So we're still going to use the quick scores, but we're now running a different procedure. Hide that, load that. Rather than opening the file in a normal output mode, which would be where I'm writing in strings, I'm opening it in binary as a write mode. Okay. So now rather than using print line, I'm going to use file put, and what this does is this writes binary strings that are of the correct length for the particular variable data type that you are writing. So if it was an integer, it's 4 bytes, I think, isn't it, for VB. If I was writing a my mind's gone blank. If I was writing a double, that would be 4 bytes. If it was a single, it's 2 bytes again. If it's a byte, it will just be the standard 1 byte. So you get the idea. It knows what data type it is, and it will encode a number as whatever binary encoding it happens to be using. Now, RecentScores is a data type. It's a custom data type. It's a type that we've created. This effectively gets stored as a long integer, which I think is 4 bytes, which is comfortably enough to store the string and integer within it. I don't know what happens if your string ends up being longer than that, but anyway, because this has the ability to be has a particular data type, it means that I don't have to do dot rank and dot suit. This entire thing will be stored. So for a particular element of the array of type recent scores, which I've passed as an array here, both the name and the score will be stored. Let's just test that, and what we'll do is we'll open it with a notepad, and then we'll open it with a hex editor so you can see actually what's being stored. So let's whiz down and quickly, I'm just going to double check I did change to bin. I did, and 7, bang, did it, lovely. Let's go back to my debug folder. That's been recreated. Let's open it with Notepad. Oh, of course it's not. Notepad, and hopefully I get squiggle 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 Bob, squiggle 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 Jill, squiggle 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 Sam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Hext, which is a hex editor, and we're going to view the same file. Let me just call that open. Okay, so we've got Hext open, and I'm just to open the scores file, and you can see that this is the ASCII version of it, and I've got a value before Bob. I've then got the trailing values. I've got Jill, then Sam. Now I'm not quite sure what that little header is. I'd have to have a look at three. Okay, so I've worked out what that is. So these two bytes here are telling me, what are they telling me? 3. It looks like it's telling me the length of the string. Do you know what? I really should have looked at the file spec for this beforehand. But that to me looks like that byte there is 3 in hexadecimal, because it's the other way around, and it's saying that there are 3 characters in the string. Let's double check Jill and Sam have the same. Four for Jill, yep, that makes sense. And hopefully Sam's going to be 3. Yes, 3, fantastic, so that's what it is. So you can see that that is 3, that is 3, and Jill is 4, brilliant. The actual characters for Jill are, if we look at each byte, in hex 62, 6F, 62, and if you look at that, they will correspond to the ASCII codes for B, O and B. Which makes sense actually, but I'll let you look that up. And hopefully if we go to Jill, we've got the 4 ASCII codes for the 4 characters there. So that leaves us with the 4 bytes in between each of the strings. This one, well, because we're just talking about single numbers, we can see holds the value of 03000000 in hex. And don't forget, the way it's encoded is that this is the least significant byte, but that is the most significant hex digit within that byte. So it's a bit funny how it's been encoded, but effectively so we've gone 300000. So that's obviously a value 3. If I come over here, that's 5 with 3 lots of zeros, and here we've got 1. And if you remember that we hard coded values as being Bob with 3, Jill with 5, Sam with 1. Oh, by the way, Hext is freely downloaded. It does lots and lots and lots of exciting things, but the most exciting thing as far as we're concerned is it shows us the exact values being held in a binary file. In fact, let's just cut to deck, which has made diddly squat difference. I assumed that would oh no, that's just for the offset. Okay, so you can do this yourself, whack in a binary file, but the reason why Notepad didn't view it very well is because these values here, 300000, obviously don't have an ASCII equivalent, or they do, but not a printable. They're not a printable character. They're some, aren't they? Who knows what they are? Sort of some weird print character or whatever. So the way that you handle strings is by having a little header to let you know how many characters it is, and then the actual ASCII codes themselves, and you can convert 62 into denary and then look up the ASCII for that. Then we've got the integer that's being held for the score, which is 4 bytes, and then we've got the That's 32 bits, and that's being held in those hex values there, and that's repeated for the three different entries to recent scores. Right, if you're still with me, hopefully you're now happy that that line there does actually write all of the data from the recent scores for each element of the array. Obviously, for both the string and the binary, we're just going to loop through from 1 to recent scores. I'm not going to stop there. I could do, but let's quickly look at the loading. It's almost identical. For the string, it's actually more complicated. The way that I've chosen to take the string data out of a file is by using the split function. Actually, something's occurred to me. I wonder if they'd get you to use the same system as they've stored for the deck, which is just sequential lines. I may do a little append to this where I write another save and load recent scores, which uses the same system as they've used to create the deck file. Because I'm going to do another PEST for deck files anyway, deck file saving anyway. But anyway, you might as well learn this. What split does is effectively create an array for each string separated, an array element for each string separated by a particular delimiter. So here we've got the comma, and I've said take this line which we've read in from line input, and the 0th element of the array will be the name Bob, and the first element of the array will be the score. Obviously, if I convert that to an integer, probably got away with it, but it's worth doing. And I've just assigned those to the values, looped through for the counts, and you have a good look at that. When you code it, step through it, make sure you understand what each thing does. Again, F1 if you need to find out what any of that syntax is. The binary is gorgeous, because I think that's a bit faffy actually. The binary is much nicer, because rather than file put, we can use file get, and because we know how recent scores is being created in terms of its binary word length, we can just read it straight in. So all we do is count through from 1 to recent scores, number of recent scores, and just take that particular element and it will just sort it out for us. To test that, I've created another little case option here. Reset the scores so we know they're definitely 0. Display the recent scores so we're 100% proving they're 0. Then we're going to load recent scores and display them again. So let's do that now. I've not bothered with the menu item there, so let's hit 8, and you can see that, that's definitely 0. And now, on the second time round, we can see that it's been loaded up. So that definitely worked. Let's quit that. And just to prove that the binary would also work, let's change that to bin, bang, and let's go for 8 again. Definitely 0. Definitely been loaded up. Job's a good one. So, that's how you would go about coding and testing your reading and writing recent scores to a file. As I say, I'll do a little extra video which looks at doing that using the same sort of encoding system that's been done for the deck. I hope you found that useful. I'll open these up so that you can see them all on the screen at the end for a quick comparison. And I hope you enjoy playing with those and having a go at them. Obviously, if you've got a different system, feel free to add a comment to the bottom of this video. As I say, there are loads of different ways. If you can think of a better one, please feel free to add a comment on this video. Hope you're enjoying the pests. Hope you find them useful.